Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, and I'm really fortunate. We have a really special guest today with Warner E. Hodges, most well known as the guitar player from Jason and the Scorchers. He's got his own solo career as well, and Warner's like one of the most requested guests. I've had so many people emailing in, so I'm serious, man. So it's really cool to have him here. Couple of quick announcements. I just want to thank our mutual friend Dan Baird.
Danny Baird.
Dan, we love you, period. Thank you very much for thanks for hooking us up.
He'd love that
joke. Thank you for hooking us up.
Love that joke.
I know. And also make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe. Subscribe to the audio. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell. All right, Warner E. Hodges, as I said, most well-known as a guitarist for Jason the Scorchers, where he played a major role in creating what we now call alt country. The band loved both country and punk music, and they didn't see why they couldn't play both, and so they did.
At the same time.
Dude, that is just that speaks to the open-mindedness of music and just your band in that particular situation. You know, not many people can come and invent anything.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't, I think back, Jeff Johnson and I, and actually the original drummer in the Scorchers, a guy named Barry Feltz, pre-Perry Baggs even, had a band that we just, basically it was a good excuse to get together in my parents' basement and drink beer. We called ourselves the Idiots. And we would, at that point, we were young, teenagers, and we would basically play these country songs hopped up way too fast. I don't know if we called ourselves making fun of them. We were busy being punk rock, whatever the hell it was we were doing. But my dad walked through the basement one day and looked at Jeff and said, if you boys actually went about that seriously, you got something there. And Jeff took it to heart. Jeff understood.
Wow.
Jeff and my dad always really got on really well. And Jeff took it to heart. And when Jason moved to town, Jason Ringenberg, and put together the Scorchers, he found Jeff first, then me. And then when Barry Feltz quit the band, I brought in Perry Baggs. And we were listening to the Ramones and the Pistols, but we were also listening to Hank Sr. and George Jones. And we didn't understand where was the rule book that said you couldn't slap them together,
That's so
there wasn't
cool.
a rule book that said
that. Yeah, man. But just to even think of that, and to not like, to not what's the word? Have your own governor and just let the music become your governor. That it's very pure and authentic.
Well, the quote unquote cool factor, we were too young and stupid to care whether it was cool or not.
That's
it was
great.
just what we were into. And Jason was able to harness that and give us a direction. Jason's an amazing front man, and he was really writing great songs in those days. And, we had this, what was it Jason used to always say? We'd go into towns and people didn't know whether they should feed us or they should beat us up, because we were radically different from what people were expecting.
Right. Very cool, man.
It's so funny now. You listen to country radio and it all sounds like watered down Leonard Skinner and Jason and the Scorchers.
Oh,
but in those days you didn't hear a distorted guitar on anything. We just brought a lot of rocket fuel to it, if possible.
Man, you did it extremely well for a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Warner was originally born in Germany, moved back to the States in the mid-'70s, wound up, as he just said, meeting the guys from Jason and the Scorchers in the mid-'80s in Nashville. The Scorchers recorded 2 EPs and 6 albums and shared the stages with the Ramones. That must have been cool.
It was way cool. We did 5 shows with them. Little side story. The first night, I think we were getting $300 or $400 a night opening for 5 shows in Texas. First night we get shafted. The promoter doesn't pay us, and the promoter, we have enough money between us to either go back to Nashville with our tail in our legs or go to the next gig, which I think was Houston. We were in Beaumont, Texas the first night. we decided to go to Houston. We weren't going to go home with our tail between our legs. We play our set in Houston. Turns out it's the same promoter. He don't pay us that night either.
Oh my
And
God.
somehow the Ramones get wind of the fact that they haven't said word one to us yet. We're on our second show. Nobody said a word to us. We play and get out of the way. So, it's their show, playing huge clubs down in Texas. Somehow they get wind that we've been shafted. And they load into our little closet of a dressing room. And Joey looks at the girl taking care of us backstage and says, "Go get the promoter." And the promoter comes back, and Joey looks at him. The guy's got 3,000 fans out front. "Hey, ho, let's go." And Joey looks at him. He says, "We don't play till you pay these guys." So the guy pays us for the show, and Joey literally looks at him and goes, "Pay them for last night."
Wow.
And we ended up, by the end of the thing, we were a broke, just trying to get it up and running. By the end of the tour, we were actually playing on their gear. Our stuff was all broke down. They were wonderful. They were great guys.
That is so cool. And you got the New York Joey accent down perfectly.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, you did. That was pretty impressive for a Southern boy, man. That was very good.
For a hick. Yeah.
Very, very good. Right on target. That is really cool, man, to know that they stepped up for you like that.
Oh, dude, they've been there, done that. We did a bunch of dates with Stevie Ray, and Stevie would cut his own sound check short so that we got a full hour to sound check and an hour to get dressed to play.
Wow.
He had been the doormat before himself, and we learned, actually the first band we played with that we learned from was REM. Those guys were wonderful about taking care of their opening acts. We'd go down to Atlanta, get $100 to open up for REM at the 688, and they give us $400 of their money and 2 hotel rooms.
Oh my God.
They were those kind of. Oh, they're incredible guys. Still got great guys. I'm friends with all those guys still.
My God, that is really heartwarming to hear that, because you don't hear those stories. You hear all the shit.
Oh yeah,
like the first part.
Dude,
promoters.
There's some god awful.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to, I'm an AC/DC fanatic. I've seen AC/DC 105 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The best you're gonna get out of opening for AC/DC is they don't pay any attention to you for 30, 40 minutes. It's an opening band on a gig like that is a thankless. Nobody wants to see that. They paid to see AC/DC. They don't want to see the opening band. The Ramones were that way. The kids that were there, they'd never heard of us. They had paid to see the Ramones. And we ended up doing a few good shows and creating some fans out of it, but it was a tough gig.
Yeah.
The Ramones were not an easy band to open up for sure.
Wow, that's why. It's funny. I had Ty Tabor on the show from King's X.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Great band, dude.
Great,
a guitar player, and the drummer, man, Dog Man. Oh, good Lord.
But they opened for AC/DC, and he shared the same story. He said it was brutal.
Well, nobody's there to, and they're a good band, man.
Great band.
A really good band. It's
Well, so are you guys.
Well, thank you. Nobody's there to see you, though.
Yeah.
They're there to see the headliner.
That's wild, man. Okay, so Jason the Scorchers, they opened as we just discussed for the Ramones. Bob Dylan.
Oh yeah.
What was that like? I see the little devil on one side of your head.
No. Historically, it was a really good thing. It was a weird tour for us. We actually canceled a sold-out tour in Europe and came home to do like 25 Dylan dates. But it was when Perry, our drummer, that was when we found out he had diabetes.
Okay.
We ended up limping through that tour. Perry was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and we didn't know what was wrong. And eventually he had to go to the hospital for a hernia. And when they did the blood work, they wanted to know why he wasn't taking his insulin. That's where we found out he had diabetes. He was playing these shows where he was right on the verge of a diabetic coma. So it was it was historically a wonderful thing to get to pay for open up for Bob Dylan. It was a weird thing,
Yeah.
His audience, Dylan's audience, is so weird because it's 10-year-old to 80. It's
that is weird.
The audience is, people that were 35, 40 when he started. That's now 80, 85,
Yeah, yeah.
and their kids and their children. It's an amazing amalgamation audience,
Who
We
was
did
his
okay, but we tried to, G.E. Smith. It was the Saturday
GE?
Night Live band.
Yeah,
Yeah. And GE, it was an amazing thing because it seemed like Bob's only mission in life was he was going to lose the band. And G.E. Smith's mission was Bob was not going to lose the band.
That's awesome.
And it was amazing how great they were. They were great.
That's
what
awesome.
they did, they were great.
Very cool, man. REM, as you said, and again, that was such a good story, man. That was really awesome to hear.
Those guys are absolutely the greatest guy. Even the way they retired, where they just took their bat and ball and went home. It was just classy.
That's cool. Like you said, they took their bat and ball and went home.
Well, they'd done everything they wanted to do. I was talking to Mike Mills about it. He said our record deal was up. We were at the new record deal. The business had changed drastically, and they decided they'd done everything they could do. So they took their bat and ball and went home.
That's really cool.
Really classy. Really classy.
That is classy.
And now Pete Buck and Mike Mills are, well, not right now because of coronavirus. Both of them are out there playing in other bands in a band, because they love playing. So
that's nice, man. Stevie Ray Vaughan, as you said, Circle Jerks.
Oh yeah. Big fan of the Jerks. We met them once again, like we played when we first started out, man, we ended up playing a lot of these punk rock places because our energy level was so damn through the roof.
Bingo.
Nobody was going to have us in a country bar. And we played the 688. We played the 688 with the Circle Jerks, and we all become buddies. They loved us. We loved them. I'm still Keith Morris is one of the guys. Reasons I'm sober. Him and Steve Jones were my two LA buddies that really beat on me, going like, "Dude, you got to get it together."
That's awesome, man. I'd love to talk about that later if you're cool with that.
Sure.
Great.
Of course.
Very cool. Carl Perkins.
I think the Circle Jerks are getting ready to do a 40th anniversary tour. Actually, I saw a thing. Greg Hedson's on my page, a guitar player, and I think they're going to do some dates for a 40-year anniversary. I'm not sure. I hope they are. I'll go.
The Misfits just toured.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
original. Yeah, the original guys too.
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's great. All right, Carl Perkins.
Carl Perkins. Anything unique with that?
Well, Carl Perkins, I was an audience member. Jason Ringenberg put together a band that had, the drummer was the guy I'd mentioned, Barry Feltz.
Mm-hmm.
Bass player was a guy named Jack Emerson, who became our manager. And he had a law student named Will. I'm sorry, I don't know his last name. I know he practices law in LA now. He was a bandy law student that played guitar. And Jason was the frontman singer guy. They did 2 shows. One of them was opening up for this little band from Athens, Georgia named REM, which Jeff Johnson saw that show. The other show was opening up for Carl Perkins. I saw that show.
Oh.
And, Jeff had told me, you got to see this guy. You'll want to play with him. And when I saw it, it was like, yes, I do want to play with him. I mean, he played, there's a little
with
theater
Jason.
on, Jason Ringenberg. It was Jason and the Nashville Scorchers. But they played the Underwood Auditorium in Vanderbilt. I guess it's like a 1,100 seat auditorium. And Jason spent half the night with his guitar and microphone down in the crowd. And I was just like, wow, I got to play with this guy.
Wow, that's pretty freaking cool.
Oh, yeah.
That is, you don't see, you know what? I don't know why you don't really see that anymore. Especially not at a club, a 1,300 to 1,200, 1,000 seat club.
Yeah. Well, dude,
not often.
Hard to see that size club even go now. You know
what? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
This was a small theater on the Vanderbilt campus. It was actually, I think Jack Emerson, who played bass, became our manager. Jack was on the concert committee. I think he's the one that got him on the gig. And Jack was a major Carl Perkins fan. So Jack was a real mover and shaker here in Nashville. He did really great things.
Did he pass or?
Yes, he actually died of a heart attack at 41 years old.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That's terrible. I hate to hear that.
2003, I think, because my younger brother died in early 2004. Jack passed
Sorry,
just
man.
before him. Thank you.
Sorry about that. God.
Thank you. Yeah, yesterday would have been my younger brother's 58th birthday.
Wow, that's. You know what? I have a similar situation like that. I lost my brother in his birth.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. It's weird on that day, on their birthday, isn't it?
Well, it's a weird thing. My birthday was June 4th. My younger brother's was June 8th, and we had a running gag. What?
Your 35th?
No, it was my 61st.
Happy birthday, man.
But we had thank you. We had a running gag. He would mail me $100 bill that I would then put in a birthday card and mail back to him, you know.
That's awesome.
I miss my younger brother lucked up and got my mother's voice. He was a singing fool. And he would call me on my birthday, and he also could do voices. He could sing like anybody. He would call me on my birthday and sing happy birthday. One year it'd be Elvis, one year it'd be Bon Scott, one year it'd be Joe Cocker, you know.
Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Happy. That's actually the thing I miss the most is the birthday call that doesn't come. You know?
Yeah, I can understand that for sure, man.
That's a weird thing. I knew sometime during the day I was going to get this weird ass call from God knows who, and he wouldn't say a word. He'd sing happy birthday and hang up. You know,
hey man, I'm glad you got that memory. That's a good thing to hang on to, brother.
It's a good memory. Yeah.
Yeah, man. The band Jason The Scorchers' reputation as live performers eventually led to the Americana Music Association awarding them the Lifetime Achievement Award for live performance. That seems like a redundant name, but congratulations.
I think we got the very first Americana Music Award handed out.
Was that surprising? Given the nature of your your not conservative performances and music.
Well, it was funny. Even that show, we were first on the bill. They got us over and done with and out of the way as quickly as they could. And it was a good evening because we managed, we've been going for years with a different bass player and drummer. Perry Baggs was still alive, but he was very ill at that point. And we actually did that show. Perry played drums and Jeff Johnson came back and played bass with us. Jeff had not played with us in 8-9 years. We only did 2 songs, and it took everything Perry could muster, but he did muster. And it was kind of cool for the original band to play that.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you guys still tour occasionally, or like were you
every blue moon? We did 8 dates in September with the triple band bill of the Kentucky Headhunters, Dan Baird Homemade Sin, and Jason and the Scorchers.
Greg Martin's one of my favorite human beings in the world.
All 4 of them boys are great boys. They're good guys.
Really good people, man.
And Doug, good Lord, what a singer.
Yeah, definitely.
Unbelievable band.
Yeah, and just great guys for sure.
Yeah.
Warner's had a successful career outside of the Scorchers. In 2007, he joined, we mentioned, Dan Baird and Mauro Magellan, the original Satellites drummer, as a member of Dan Baird and Homemade Sin. And Warner was Dan's lead guitar player for quite some time. The band recorded 5 studio albums, and the biggest selling of which was Roller Coaster, which was actually produced by Warner. In 2010, Warner began his own solo career, and so far he's recorded 5 records. His most recent album has just been released. It's called Just Feels Right. It's a very cool record. We'll talk about it today. It's got Warner's tasty guitar work on it, as always. Guests on some of his other records include members of Cheap Trick, the Mavericks, and Steve Earle and the Dukes. Dude, thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to talk with you.
No, thank you for having me, man.
All right. So you grew up in Germany. And if you played in your parents' country band, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I played drums in my parents' country band, hell, until I was 17, 18, 19 years old. I mean, I had started messing with drums as a kid. I lucked up. My older brother had a high school band in the 60s, and the drummer in that band got a new drum kit for Christmas or something. So my parents bought his used drum kit. I got a real drum kit at 6 years old.
That's pretty cool, man.
And, parents that let you learn drums, they're committed, It's like, it's, I got 2 hours a day in the basement that was mine to make as much racket as I wanted to. And it was nothing but racket up front, but eventually it become music. And my dad one day come home, we were in Europe, they had a country band. My dad was stationed in Germany, but they had a country band. They did 15 to 18 like USO, Officer Club, NCO Club shows a month. And their drummer couldn't make it. My dad looked at me and said, "Load your shit up. You're going with us tonight."
That's so cool.
I was 10, dude, 4 sets,
Dude, that is so freaking cool. Your dad sounds like the coolest dude ever.
Oh, my dad was, God, if I could turn out to be half the human being my dad was, I'll be something.
That's awesome, man.
It was a wonderful thing. And I played, when we ended up moving to Nashville, by that point I was playing a little guitar, I'd noodle with bass, and I kind of become the utility infielder. I played whatever was missing. One week I'd be the lead guitar player, the next week the drummer, then I'd be the bass player for 2 weeks. And, it was okay. It was good. It was actually my school of music.
But that's probably why you're such a good player and you're so adaptable and you're so good in different situations, because you have all this, you're not myopic in looking at this. You're seeing everything because you did it all, maybe.
Well, that I think Nashville, Tennessee, you learn real quick the songs first. If you don't play the song, doesn't matter how great a player you are, man. I tell people, I do these private lessons sometimes on the road in Europe, and I tell kids all the time, it's like, I know your guitar solo is important. I'm into it, but nobody's going to leave here humming your guitar solo, dude. You better have a hook. You better have a chorus that the girls can sing, or you ain't got nothing, And then I've spent years, with Jason Ringenberg, Dan Baird, Ginger Wildheart, Tommy Womack, Joe Blanton, around dudes that are lyricists.
Yeah.
And rock and roll. I love a good guitar riff, but you better have a song or you ain't got nothing.
That's going to be your quote. I always put a quote. Nobody's going to leave here humming your guitar solo. That's great, man.
They're not going to leave the show tonight humming your guitar solo. You better have a hook. You better have a chorus. Don't give me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. You better have something.
That's exactly right, man.
Danny Baird, he knows what a chorus is. He knows what a hook is.
He sure
Terry
does.
Anderson. God, I can't get out past it. I Love You, Period's Terry Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Battleship Chains is Terry Anderson.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you moved back to the States. Your dad was a career officer, correct?
Yeah, he did 27 years in the Army. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
He come up for his third NOM. He was going for 30. He come up for his third NOM tour in 72, and he just decided it was time to get out. He said that all his good luck cards had been played. He didn't know nobody in his MO that had been to NOM 3 times and didn't come back, as he said, quote unquote, either missing something or in a body bag.
Yeah.
So he got out.
Man, have you seen that Ken Burns documentary on Netflix?
I have not, simply because as a child, I've been at the airfield when they start. I know more about Vietnam than I want to know right now.
Sure.
I'm sure Ken Burns thing, he's great. I'm sure it's magnificent. I don't want to know any more about Vietnam.
Yeah, I didn't know much. I'm 56, so I kind of missed just by all I knew of it.
Yeah.
It is so disturbing.
Oh, dude, it was horrible. It was horrible. And the way our soldiers were treated was horrible.
That's what is just sickening. I mean, if you didn't trust the government before, there's no way you can ever trust the government again watching this.
Dude, and Korea. My dad did Korea too, man. That was a police action. It took forever for those guys to get taken care of. It wasn't a declared war. It was a police action, Crazy.
It's sickening, man. It really is. And
big time.
And then you see how Nixon, just the disregard for these young, I mean, we got kids that are older than those kids.
Yeah. Yes. I understand, Dave. And I'm pro-military,
Yes.
I threw up a thing on my Facebook page yesterday with, 4 4-star generals questioning Mr. Trump right now, and I don't want to get into politics, but I'll listen to those guys as scientists, most likely.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm the same. Yeah, yeah. Um, and thanks for talking about that. I know it was tough. When you moved back to the States, your bio said you got hip to the Sex Pistols, and
Yeah.
you appreciated. This is the part I like. You appreciated that anyone can pick up an instrument and make their own music. And I actually had some kind of like original gangster guys. I had Segs Jennings. I don't know if you know the Ruts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I do know. Yeah.
the Ruts, they were like the first band in the UK to combine like ska.
Yeah.
And I had Marco Perroni, guitar player for Adam Ant, who wrote a lot of Adam's hits. And both of them were early players in the UK punk scene. And they both said, almost verbatim, that's what attracted them to the genre, that you didn't have to be good. You could just be you. What turned you on about that?
Well, I got to admit, what happened to me, I was still playing drums out professionally. I mean, when I
Mhm.
met Joe Blanton, I played drums in his punk rock band. Joe was the guy that introduced me to this little band from New York called the Ramones. I'd never heard of them,
That's wild.
late 70s. And I was still selling myself as a drummer at that point. I was learning guitar, and I knew a lot of country guitar and bass, but I didn't feel I was qualified to be out there playing. When I got Never Mind the Bullocks, I went, cool, I'm ready. I can do this, you know.
Oh, because
And
you
I
saw that
love
you didn't need to be Neil Peart on the kit. Yeah.
no, and I loved Paul Cook, and I loved Steve Jones playing, and I know Steve probably played the bass on the damn record too. Whatever. That
Right.
record still sounds fantastic, you know. Jonesy was the guy. Paul Cook was the guy. Hell, Lydon. My dad, you know, my dad literally said, well, listen to him. The boy can't sing, but listen to the lyrics. He's got stuff he's talking about, you know. He's talking about abortion. He's talking about unemployment, you know. My dad got it.
That is so cool that your dad had that
Oh,
deeper
yeah.
respect for music, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good
And it
thing.
was great. He was like, the boy can't sing, but listen to what he's saying. He's got points here.
So he was a really open-minded guy.
Oh yeah, my dad dug Parliament Funkadelic. I mean, he was hardcore, crying your beer country music guy. Their rock and roll. My parents' rock and roll was Elvis, Little Richard, Chuck Berry. I mean, great stuff. Little Richard's still the guy for me.
Sure.
But Jerry Lee, Carl Perkins, '50s rock. But my dad, bought me a Stones record. It's like, listen to these boys, the way they put the guitars together. Listen to it. This is good.
Yeah.
He got it. He thought Parliament Funkadelic had the greatest show in the world.
Yeah. I like how you say,
My
listen to
dad
these
loved
boys.
music. There was two kinds of music, good and bad.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Man, I know I'm only going to ask you two questions about Jason, because I know I want to spare you the pain of the hundreds of questions you've been asked.
No, dude. Whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Thank you. As far as getting the band launched and defining your sound, what were some of the, and getting paid apparently, what were some of the early challenges of getting Jason and the Scorchers up and running?
Well, it's a weird thing I think about. There's, in those days, one of the things that was really great about the Scorchers was we would load up in Jason's little van. We'd all hole up in one hotel room because that's what we could afford when we could afford a hotel room. And we'd go all over the place and play these little clubs to 100, 150, 200 people a night. And we got to where we could do that most anywhere we went. And, it didn't really take a long time to get noticed. I mean, we started New Year's Eve of '81 that become '82, I think, was our first gig with Perry Baggs at the band that everybody knows. Perry on drums, Jeff Johnson on bass, me on guitar, Jason singing in front of the band. We had a record deal by late '83 or '84.
It was 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, which was the golden ring in those days. You were reaching for the golden ring. EMI signed us, and I think EMI worked their tail off. In hindsight, everybody complained about the record company in those days. If you weren't selling 10 million records, got news for you. If you were selling 10 million records, you thought you were supposed to sell 15. everybody bitched.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I think they did amazing things for us. I'm still friends with the European guys that were, Heinz Hen is still a buddy of mine. He was president of EMI Europe when we were on the label. Him and Lothar Meinzenhagen, the vice president of the label, one of them was at every European show we did.
That's
They
pretty cool.
really busted their butt trying to break the band. Quite honestly, the reason I still get to go to Europe to this day is because of the work they did back then. You know, um, we were square peg round hole in those
Yeah.
days. Hell, if we come out now, we'd just be a country band. We'd just be looked at as a country band. In those
Yeah.
days, we were so radically different. It. But it didn't take a long time to get up and running, if that makes any
Sure.
sense.
Yeah, well, 2 years is 2 years of 200 nights a year is a lot.
Yeah.
That's
But dude,
work,
we were
man.
young and we were up for it. We
Yeah.
weren't scared of it, and it's, and we come out of the DIY thing. I mean, it's also where we are right now. I
Funny
came
enough.
out of that. I know how
Yeah.
to do this,
You know what? I want to ask you a question. You've mentioned several people that you've had like almost everybody, you've had really long-term relationships with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That says a lot about you as far as, probably a bunch of things. Probably number one is that you're always the same guy. I mean, you change, but like you're, as you know, the word friend, which is used
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
different today than it was, I hate to say it, when we were kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that says a lot about your, who you are inside, your loyalty, or your, your sincerity is probably a better
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
What else would you attribute that to? Because that's that's really nice to hear that.
Well, this is probably going to get you to somewhere earlier than you meant to go, but I sobered up in September of '92. At that point, I had lived in LA in 91, and I had Keith Morris and Steve Jones, who were already sober at that point, beating on me, with the, wow, man, look at you. Look at what you're doing to yourself,
Yeah.
me telling them where to put it. But I had a lot of older friends in my life at that time. The guy that owns the castle, Joseph
Right.
Noyens Jr., that had kind of washed their hands of me as I was really messing up. That all
How old? You were
90,
like what, 30,
91,
34?
33. I sobered
Okay.
up when I was 33. And they just weren't going to watch me wreck the damn car, And as soon as I sobered up and they realized I was actually serious about it, not just cooling out for a week or two to get my ex-wife to not be mad at me. Once I realized they realized I was serious, they all dropped back into my life. And I've been very fortunate. I've been sober now almost 28 years.
Man, congratulations. That is
Thank you.
Really, really, really great to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that makes you look at your relationships quite a bit differently. If it wasn't for some of those guys, that's why Keith Morris and Jonesy are so important to me. They were there when I was telling them to stuff it. I knew they were right. I didn't want to hear it, but they were right. And it makes me very happy that I still have relationships with those guys. And, I love them, all the REM guys. I've reconnected with all of them. Hell, I used to stay at Bill Berry's house all the time. Bill's no longer in the band, but every time I get to Athens, Georgia, I still hook up with Bill,
Right.
It's Dan and I, Dan's my older brother. I don't have,
Yeah.
Dan is one of the greatest guys on the face. But Joe Blanton, I've been friends with Joe since 78, 79, it makes me very happy to have guys like that I trust, that will tell me the truth, not what I want to hear, but the truth.
But which is like so meaningful, man.
Joe will literally, I mean, Warner, I can hear you in there rolling your eyes Please just do what I ask you to do. Joe knows me. Joe knows me. I'm standing there rolling my eyes going, wow, what a stupid idea. You know, they'll tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. That's important. That's a true friend.
Yes. Know? Yeah, man. Don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining. Just
my wife will call Deb. She will call me on my shit.
Yeah.
You know, and Danny Baird will call me on my shit. I will stop and listen when he brings something to my attention because it might be something I need to listen to.
Yeah.
You know how musicians are, especially guitar players, dude. I know what I'm doing. You don't know anything. Bullshit. You know.
So you attribute a lot of getting sober allowed you to embrace these relationships and kind of, I guess, value them for what they were worth.
Even more so. Especially, like I say, when I sobered up, there was 4 or 5 people, a girl named Kim Hunter, my old guitar tech, Dave Sutherland, Joseph Noyens Jr. There was 4 or 5 older friends that had been there watching me wreck the car for a while that washed their hands of me that immediately came back into my life when I sobered up. And I will forever be in their debt.
Did you go a 12-step to get sober?
Yes, I did.
You still go? You still go to meetings?
Every blue moon, not like I used to. The first 2 years, I went to 2 meetings a day for 2 years. For 5 years, I went every day.
Holy crap. Good for you, man. Wow, I got goosebumps, man. That's great.
I needed to. You know, it was the right thing. I heard it said one day, and I loved it. You know, some lady said her mother asked her when she was going to quit going to those meetings. It's just brainwashing. And her response was, "Mama, my brain needed washing."
Yeah, man.
My brain needed washing, dude. You know.
Wow. Man, that's good, man. I'm so happy for you. It's funny. I had
Thank you.
A long time ago. I think. Do you know Chasm Sultan, bass player?
No, I don't.
From Todd from Utopia.
Okay,
he's a New York guy. Anyway, he was telling me. He said when I first got sober, it was so important to me. Anytime I was traveling, I always went to meetings. And I said, wow, that's pretty cool. He goes, hey, man, when I was using, I managed to find the dope man. When I'm in town, it's a hell of a lot easier to find a meeting than a dope man.
Exactly. Dude.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'll never forget that. I was like,
you know, my big problem, I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't extracurricular because I was, but my big problem was alcohol.
Yeah.
You know? And it's, when I took the alcohol out of the equation, everything else was easy. It was simple. It wasn't easy. It was simple. And it's
it's good distinction, man.
Yeah, it was. You know, I haven't had. You know, I couldn't tell you the last time I had to have a drink. You know, it would have been in year 1. I've been very fortunate that I had some great people around me. You know, my sponsor, who was an old friend, my sponsor now, who's a really old friend, that knew me when I was a mess. You know, knew what I was like, and I could not be any happier, more fortunate than where I am. You know, on that level, I would have, you know, there would have been no more Scorchers. There would have been no, Dan Baird wouldn't have hired me. I played with Driving and Crying for 3 or 4 years. Simply, I got the job because I was sober, you know?
Yeah.
They had a couple of problems with alcohol in the band, and I literally was hired because I was sober. It had nothing to do with my playing.
Imagine that.
Oh, yeah. It's, but I played with those boys 3 or 4 years. Great band. Band. I had the thing going with Dan. I kept missing shows. They were having to sub me out all the time, and they eventually had to get a guy, you know? I completely get it. I'd love to play with them again if they ever need me. But none of those opportunities would have presented themselves if I was still drinking. Well, I'm not an idiot. If I was still drinking, I'd be dead, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. So.
Well, man, thank you.
Not purposely. I would have done something stupid and just ended up, you know, wrecking a car drunk. Something stupid, you know. Maybe hurting somebody else even more stupid. You know?
Yeah. Well, man, thank you very much for sharing that. I'm so happy for you, man. And congratulations on all that sobriety.
Thank you very much.
That's a difficult thing. And it sounds like you have really gone out of your way to get some good personal growth now that you had the clarity to do that. So that's like wonderful, man.
Thank you.
from the Scorchers, biggest takeaways, good, bad, or otherwise, could be business, personal, music, entertainment wise, whatever you want to discuss.
Yeah. The Scorchers is a double-edged sword, man. You know, when it's great, it's really, really great. It's also, you know, Jason and I, we really are white and black. We don't see a lot of stuff the same.
Yep.
We do see some things the same. You know, when we can get that energy going in the right direction, we are a force to be reckoned with. It's, you know, when we did our last studio record, Halcyon Times, it was astounding that we pulled that record out of the fire. You know, 32 years, 31 years deep, we did another record that was like, all right, hell yeah. You know, we had been showing up for years going, hello, everybody, it's 1985, one more time, you know. It was nice. Jason and I made a concerted decision when we went out on the Halcyon Times dates that we were going to play. Half the show was going to be new stuff. We'd give them some old stuff, but we needed new stuff for us.
Yeah, of course.
And we were able to do that. And the fans really dug. It was a great record. We put together a real good team of guys to write, and it was a great record. We haven't found the ability to do that since. We haven't recorded anything really since. So I've been really busy. Jason's been really busy with his solo thing and his Farmer Jason children's thing.
Yeah.
The Scorchers are an amazing thing, but it's a weird. We also built a box that when we started, it was alternative and weird and out of control and different. Now we got a box where we kind of got to stay within these lines or we can't do it. And that makes it a little difficult, a little difficult. One of the things I really loved about Dan is we could go all over the map musically. And I try to do that in my solo thing as much as my talents allow.
Man, you did. It was really cool because there's a couple of really good picking tunes on there, like country stuff.
Yeah.
You did a lot of different guitar stuff on the record. It was really awesome.
Well, that stuff's in my nature. I don't really get to do a lot of it live. You know, I'm not in a band where I can go, okay, now I'm going to bring my Fender rig for the live stuff. I mean, for the country stuff. And I'm going to bring the Marshall and the high watt for the right. I can't do that. I'm always looking for one amp that'll do it all.
Sure.
Which I've been very fortunate. An old AC 30 gets me close, you know.
Right on.
But it was fun to just go, hell, you know, let's go to Bakersfield, California on this one. Let's go to old Nashville, Tennessee on this one. And that was kind of what we tried to do with the record, you know.
Yeah, and I think you did it. And
well, thank you.
I could see you doing that with Dan because he's that kind of guy for sure.
Dan's absolutely that guy,
Yeah,
and Joe
definitely.
Blanton really understands it. Joe's been around, like I say, he knows. Been around me since the '70s, man. You know, it's he knows what I can and can't do.
Right.
And it was, you know, Joe pushes me almost to the point of me wanting to strangle him sometimes, but I have learned that is a joke. We didn't have one bad word with each other this last record. I've learned when Joe's pushing, shut up and let him push.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be happy when we're done. And he'll push me into a corner that I have to fight my way out of. But it's like, wow, man, thank you. You know?
Yeah. Very cool, man.
Oh yeah, and Dan did too. Dan's, you know, I hear Dan every guitar driven song I do. I hear Dan over here going, "Where's your hook? Where's your hook? Where's your hook?" You know, nice guitar riff, asshole. Where's your hook? You know.
You know, it was funny when I talked to him. I said something about. He said, "Well, you know, I'm not the best singer," and something then it came up. Well, I'm not the best guitarist. I said, "Look, you can write the shit out of a song." He goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at writing."
Dude. Well, first off, Dan has one of my 3 Desert Island records is a Dan Baird solo record, Love Songs for the Hearing Impaired. If I only get 3 records, that one's going with me.
Awesome.
It's got Mauro Magellan, the drummer from the Georgia Satellites, at the height of his power. Keith Christopher playing bass at the height of his power, Dan and Brendan O'Brien, engineering, playing
that's a
guitar.
great record. Yeah.
My God, dude,
Yeah.
Everything's fantastic
Yeah.
on that record. I think Terry Anderson sang backgrounds on the record, which makes perfect sense. It's Danny Baird is a better guitar player than he'll tell you.
Yes.
He's no, he is not an opera singer. That ain't what he does. He is a great rock and roll singer.
The best. Yeah.
I always, the few times I got to produce Dan, he's worried about pitch and all that. It's like, dude, I don't care. Make me believe it. Sell me. And that was what I was looking for in a Dan Baird vocal. Dude, I believe every word that popped out of his mouth. That's the take,
Yeah.
Sell me. I'm buying, sell me, And
I like that.
That's what I look for out of Dan. That's what he can do. I saw it night after night, dude, where he sing All Over But the Crying, a 30-year-old song about divorce. And somehow every night he'd find a place to access that pain for the audience and pull his heart out and go, here it is. Look at it. It's broken. And then he'd go to the next happy-go-lucky song,
Yeah.
That's talent, dude. Absolute talent. I watched it night after night after night. Really amazing. If Dan stood a chance, if the monitors were okay and the crowd would let him go, amazing rock and roll show,
Let's talk about your new record.
I like talking about Dan Baird, don't I?
Yeah, you do. Hey, that's all right, man. Look, the guy's been an important guy to you in your life in many different ways. I totally get it, man. It's really nice, to be honest. It's nice to hear that, in general, like when you talk about other people. That's why I don't normally, that's not something I ask. I just picked up on that you have these very meaningful relationships. And that's why
Danny Baird is one of those guys. If he called me to whatever he needs, I'm capable of doing it to the best of my ability. And I think he knows. I hope he knows that. If he needs a guitar player, I'm there. If he needs a plumber, I'm there. Called me the other day.
He may call you for that now. He hears this. He'll be calling you. Hey, man, my toilet's fucked.
I got his air conditioner fixed the other day. Him and Lori's heat and air went out the other day, and we're in the 90s here in Nashville, man.
Same here, man. Yeah.
I got him hooked up.
Brutal.
Oh yeah, you're in Florida.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
It's brutal.
But Dan, I think Dan knows that. So.
This is your fifth record. Between this, Jason The Scorchers, Homemade Sin, the Bluefields, and some other projects you've done, you have a really massive catalog. I was curious. You called the record Just Feels Right. And I don't usually ask about titles, but I'm assuming you called it that for a reason. Is there anything different or?
Well, I had been squirreling away. If you listen to the records, Dan Baird and Homemade Sin in general was Dan's vision. It was Dan's band. It's called Dan Baird and Homemade Sin. The Bluefields started out as a solo record for me that become this band project. It was me going, I'm going to just do some Zeppelin sounding shit. And it became a band with Joe singing under his breath as we're writing the songs. And it's like, wow, his under the breath singing's better than my best vocal will ever be. Dan wanted to play bass on it. We ended up, this record had Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes played drums on it.
Yeah, right.
So it was kind of a Zeppelin-y thing. My solo thing has always been my 70s rock band that I didn't get to have, I always joke about it in my solo band. We do covers as encores, and in my solo band, we do all the covers that your real band won't let you do. You can do them. You can do them here. We'll play War Pigs by Black Sabbath. If I told Dan I wanted to play War Pigs, he'd look at me like I was nuts.
Yeah, I couldn't see Dan playing War Pigs.
No, it's just he wasn't a Black Sabbath guy.
Yeah,
he said that was a year or two too much past his deal. One of my first rock and roll records was the first Black Sabbath record. My older brother gave me Are You Experienced the first Black Sabbath and the first Zeppelin record for Christmas one year, and it was like, oh my God, you can do that too.
Can you imagine getting those three I mean,
Jesus, yeah,
that's pretty powerful.
But I had been kind of squirreling away stuff for Jason and the Scorchers in case we did a record. And I kind of, in my solo thing, kind of tried to stay away from Scorcher-esque sounding stuff. And this time I just went, you know what? Let's just play to your strengths. Let's do the stuff you want. That was kind of become Joe's driving mission, that you're going to do these country rock things that you're known to do, you know? And it just felt right, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The record just kind of mutated that way. If there's, you know, I told the band guys, my three band guys, guitar player Ben Marston, my drummer John Powney, and our bassist Jason Knight. Although I think Dan played bass on 4 songs, Jason played on the rest of the record. Jason played organ on the record on the 1 song on Company Man. I told them, you know, if you're looking for inspiration, go listen to Jason and the Scorchers. I want to kind of, you know, use the Scorchers as inspiration for how we approach the record.
From an energy standpoint.
Energy, melody, especially the country rock stuff.
Yeah.
Company Man, In Your Dreams, The Magician. The Magician's a Dan Baird, Keith Christopher, and Joe Blanton song. Hell, I didn't write a word of it, you know. When Dan played it for me the first time, it was like, my God, man, this 50s crying your beer country. I want to do that as a old Nashville country song. Dan thought I was nuts, but that was the way I heard the tune, you know.
I want to talk about a few of the songs. You mentioned Company
Sure.
Man. I love that song.
Yeah.
It's a great rock anthem.
Yeah.
The lyrics, I never was cut out to be a company man. What's the backstory on that one?
Well, Joe wrote it, but it's Dan, me, and Joe. Think about it, dude.
Yeah.
We're probably not company material. You know? we've all managed to make it to late adult life, kind of working for ourselves. You know,
Sure.
it's I don't think I'm not a big joiner. I don't join movements. I'm not. I've always kind of tried to tote my own flag and do things my way. I'm very fortunate in running my business that it's my business. I can do that. Dan obviously has been able to do that for a long time. Joe too, you know, it's, and that, you know, the things that we touched on that one was, you know, let's go to the old days of the Faces, you know, let's try to head that route, you know, great music.
Yeah. Well, it's a great song, man. I really enjoyed it. Great rock anthem.
Thank you.
In Your Dreams, you got a great solo in there. I thought it was like a real old school country rock shuffle.
Oh yeah.
Are you playing a Telly on there?
There's a Telly and a Les Paul.
A Telly and a Les Paul. What do you?
But there's a lot of you know, the hammer-on pull-off chordal things. It's that triplets type of stuff that I'm pretty good at, that kind of crap.
Oh, you're really good at that, man. What are you playing through? Is that through your Vox?
Probably one track is the AC30 and one track is a Dr. Z therapy.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've got a Dr. Z built me a therapy a few years ago, and it's an amazing little amp, man. You can do you know, it's kind of based on the old 40-watt Fender Twin.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do some crazy great stuff with that amp, you know, clean right at the point of breaking up, but not quite.
Yeah. I had a Dr. Z a while back. Good song, In Your Dreams. And then I also like Take Me Downtown. I thought it was like high energy, foot stomping music, man. You had great lead work, great fills throughout the entire song.
Thank you.
Oh, that was very cool. I was curious what guitar you were playing there and what you played it through, because it cut through the mix like perfect, man. That was
probably
really
on
awesome.
That one. It's probably my old '62 Jazzmaster.
Oh, wow.
I've got a hand wound Firebird pickup in it. It's the Scorcher guitar. Fervor and Lost and Found. I had my Jazzmaster, a borrowed Telly, and a borrowed Les Paul. That's the guitars on those first 2 records. And my Jazzmaster has because it's got a hand wound Firebird pickup in it, it's got a very distinctive sound. And Joe was real big on get that Jazzmaster over here. We haven't used it in a while, and this record, it needs it. So It's on probably 6 or 7 tracks on that record.
Yeah, it sounds great. However, the mix was great on that, man.
Well, that would have been run through either an Orange single 12 or open back single 12 by Avatar, or it would have been run through Joe's Marshall and Dan's 4x12 old Marshall cabinet.
Man, he showed me his what's his name guitar, Steve Marriott guitar.
Yeah, the 52 Telly. Yeah,
it was that he sweats
53 Esquire.
Yeah, he sweats so much the pots got rotted out. I couldn't believe that. Man,
dude. When I'm the one that talked him into quit dragging that guitar around Europe.
Thank God.
Played it. Well, he played it until it literally would, it would get so wet that it was like the tone would be cut off, and eventually, it was just, muted. And then it would bum him out for the rest of the tour that he couldn't play his guitar, and I just told him it was like, dude, you got to get another guitar, because that guitar, you've just about sucked all the rock and roll out of that guitar. You don't want to refinish it. The wood is literally saturated. The old cloth wiring is saturated. And no matter how many times you get the blow dryer out, you ain't going to get it dry enough for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
The guitar just had started letting him down to the point of he had to get something else.
Yeah. And it's funny, and Dan, I know you're listening. I'm hoping you're listening. I know you're listening. So I've talked to like 3 or 4 buddies since I had Dan on the show. I said, that was Steve Marriott's guitar. And all of them were like, that Telly, the one, the brown one that was all beat up. Everybody knows that guitar, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's legendary.
Did Dan tell you the next story?
He did. Now let me tell it, because by the time I recall
the way I understand it, I might get this wrong. It's a 53, and keyboard player in the Faces, McLaughlin. Ian had,
McLaughlin.
Yeah, Ian had a 57 and 57 Telly. Steve liked the neck on Ian's guitar, and Ian liked the neck on Dan's, so they traded necks.
Yes, he did.
So Dan's is a 53 body with a 57 neck, and Ian's family, I guess, has the 57 body with a 53 neck.
Yeah.
So I think that's correct. I could be wrong, but I think that's the story.
That is the story.
It's got the old man, as he calls it, has a very like V neck.
Yeah, well,
Dan really loved that profile.
Yeah, he talked at length about that. He said he fell in love with it, man.
Oh yeah.
I read at one point in time, and we talked before we started recording, that when the Scorchers broke up, I know now you moved out to New York and LA. What prompted you to go to those places, and what were you doing out there? And also, how did you process that? Like, I'm in a band, and now I'm like, how did that? Was that? I would imagine that was tough.
Well, I mean, I moved to New York in 85 to 90. I was married to my ex-wife, Cynthia Tucker, and she lived in New York. I got married in 87, but I moved there in 85. Band was still functioning. I left the band, or we disbanded the band in 1989 after the Dylan tour, until like 93. And so the 5 years I was in New York, 4 of them, I was in Jason The Scorchers. I was coming back and forth to Nashville a lot. And then we moved to LA because we just moved to LA. My wife was an actress at the time, and we moved out there so she could audition out there. And when we moved home, I got home and finally sobered up, listened to my buddies and sobered up. And in 93, Jeff Johnson, the original Scorcher bass player, put the Scorchers back together, which was kind of weird. Jeff was the first one to quit, but he put the band back together. And he did an amazing job with it. And we got, we had another run, and we've kind of been going ever since then. Jeff again left the band in 96, 97. We got another bass player, and we've had a bunch of hiatuses through the years where we just haven't done a lot, and then we do a lot, and then we don't do a lot. And but it was just the way things were done, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Where did you live in the city?
I lived on 73rd and First,
Oh man, that's a
and
pretty good. That's a
lived
really nice
lived
area.
there from 85 to 88, and then we moved out to Queens, 88 and 89. We lived in Queens.
Yeah, that's a nice area. That's really very residential, 73rd and First. We all paid tuition, Warner, and I was wondering if you'd be kind enough to share maybe one or two mistakes you made along your journey, and what was the lessons that you learned from those mistakes?
I truly wish I wouldn't have wasted as much time with alcohol.
Sure.
I know it took that to get this,
Yeah.
but I feel like I wasted a lot of time, made some very poor decisions because of it. You know, they hungover or drunk. I wish, but you know, hindsight's 2020. Thank God I did see it at a decent age and stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Very,
and
very
you,
young.
you know, the odds of actually really stopping ain't great.
Extremely low.
Extremely poor.
Extremely low. Yes.
You know, I can't get into total details, but there was a group of 36 of us when I sobered up that were all within 5 or 6 months of each other. There's 4 of us right now that's still sober.
Yeah, that's 10%. That's high.
Yeah, big
that's
time.
High. Yeah.
I know I can't go back. I wish I could have just kept it at beer and not screwed up quite as much. I would have made some better decisions, I think.
Sure.
I probably shouldn't have rushed into my first marriage the way I did.
I hear you on that, bro.
And I blame myself completely, not her. Should have finished school. I was in college. Should have finished school. You know, could have, didn't. You know, that's okay. But it's one of those things. Now at 61, it bothers me that I didn't finish. You know, I'm not a quitter. When I'm in, I'm in. You know, and I do wish I'd have got my degree. I was a pretty smart guy, or I thought I was a pretty smart guy.
What were you studying?
History.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what the hell I'd have done with it. I still, if you could pay me to read history, if I could make a living doing that, I could just read history the rest of my life.
That's cool, man. This guy, and I had a guy on the show, he writes for Guitar Magazine in Europe, and he asked me to put an article together for, what's my take on commonalities of guitar players.
Yeah.
And one of the number one things is, in general, I think musicians as a whole that are successful are some of the brightest people I've ever met because they're so well read.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we joke about it all the time. You know, Dan and I we're driving down the road. Everybody thinks we listen to a Jason and the Scorchers song, then a Georgia Satellite song, then a Jason and the Scorchers song, back and forth all day long. I couldn't tell you the last time music was cut on in a band that I was traveling down the road in. It would have been the 80s, you know.
Wow.
Except for putting in the CD of your band and going, dude, you screwed up. Learn your part, you know. It's always 4 dudes riding down the road reading books.
That's great. I'm not.
It's always. And I don't know if it's because we've all, you get that 2.5 hours of sheer volume all night long.
Sure.
So the next day you don't want the sheer volume till it's time for the sheer volume. Nobody likes it loud more than I do, but I like it loud at showtime. I really care less about it the rest of the time. I couldn't tell you the last time music was put on just, hey dude, let's listen to some jams, you know.
But I think musicians are very curious people, and they're
Yeah.
very interested in learning. And
Yeah.
I love curious people. And I mean, it's some of the brightest people I've ever met are musicians, man. Really, just
Well,
not just
I
street
agree.
smarts, but just intellectual. Like you're reading history, and it's not easy to read. You know, the average
No,
guy
but
don't sit
I
down and
love
read
it.
history, right?
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, to see.
I do think I was fortunate as a kid living in Germany.
Mm,
Had a couple of history teachers that were amazing. To this day, I wish I remembered their names. I'd owe them a Christmas card. They instilled in me a love of history. You know, I was taught well by
yeah.
somebody that made it interesting. You know, there's nothing worse than a subject that somebody makes boring, you're going to hate.
Yes.
Teachers are amazing. The ones that really interest you are amazing.
Yeah.
And to this day, I can't get my fill of that kind of thing. And living in Europe, I was around a lot of 20th century history. I could go to it.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
looking at buildings made in 600 AD or something like that. That's pretty cool.
well, you know, it's a weird thing when you think Americans think in tens of years. Something
Yeah.
35 years old is old.
Yeah.
Europeans think in hundreds. Something that's 15, you know, from the 14th century, that's old.
Yeah.
Asians think in thousands. You know,
Yes.
something that isn't 3,000 years old ain't much. You know,
Yeah, man.
Asians, Egyptians. You know, it's like my lord.
They got real history. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, tell me, let's talk about gear for a few minutes. Tell me
yeah.
what's your go-to guitar right now, and what other two guitars would round out your top three, Warner?
Um, well, I had to learn the language of Gibson when I started playing with Dan. Had always been a Fender Tele guy or Strat guy, and my Jazz Master was my first guitar. Um, but when I joined Dan's band, Dan's Tele guy, and the Satellites had always had the other guitar player. Rick Richards was a junior guy, I think P90. So I had to become P90 or humbucker guy, and I got a couple of Les Pauls and was not very good with them for a while. It's a completely different approach. You can't go at a Les Paul with the same right hand you can go at a Tele. But I learned, and now I think I've got a custom shop 58 Lemon Burst that Cody Higby built for me. That is my first guitar. I grab it first. I've got an old 67 Tele. That's my Scorcher guitar. That would always be with me. And probably my Jazz Master, although I don't travel with it. I've caught two different people trying to steal it. Bob Dylan wanted to buy it from me. I wouldn't sell it to him. I don't take that guitar out on the road. I would. I just don't feel safe doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not a super valuable guitar. It's valuable to me. It was my first guitar. Like I say, it's got this 71 hand wound Firebird pickup in it that makes it a unique sounding guitar. Its voice is an amazing thing, and that guitar still, when I put it in my hands, I don't get lost.
That's
It
nice.
knows where to go even when I don't. So
I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of videos of you playing your Les Paul, man. You seem really, I mean, that seems like it's your guitar, man, to be honest.
It's if I'm just stepping up on stage with you tonight, that's probably the guitar I'll have in my hands.
Yeah, I mean, you just look, and it sounds great, and you just look cool with it, to be honest.
Well, and I've learned using a Dan Baird taught technique. If I get back on the bridge as far as I can get, I can damn near get it to twang. You know, it's
okay.
It's not quite a Tele, but I can get close. You know,
dude, you're such a good player. You could do whatever you want on. I mean, it's like everybody says.
You're a guitar player, so you'll know this. You know, I remember with Stevie Ray when we were out with Stevie Ray. You know, he would come in every day back when I smoked. Hey, Warner, let me have one of them cruel cigarettes. He'd bum a cigarette off me. It's like, wow, Stevie, seems like you could buy your own damn cigarettes. But and he'd play Scuttle Button for me every day.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that one. He'd play that one. But the figure eight pattern he used to do on his Strats, you know, he'd play this figure eight thing.
With his right hand?
Yeah, with his right hand, really fast, going from neck back to bridge as a figure eight. And dude, it would sound like he had the three-way switch going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was unbelievable. And I learned, where you play versus the bridge, there's 9 million tones, man. There's 9 million tones between the neck joint and the bridge. Where are you going to pick that guitar to get said tone? The Les Paul's really an amazing thing. I'm going to hate saying this, but I'm going to say it. I watched a Joe Bonamassa.
Everybody says,
I know.
everybody prefaces that at the same time.
I need to be slapped. No, it was a thing on tone, just the 2 volume knobs, the 2 tone knobs. I knew there was a lot of tone in the guitar. I learned more in that 10-minute video than I have in the last 3 years about tone. I've really got into playing with volume and tone knobs. In Dan's band, it was really a cool thing. In the Scorchers, I'm usually plowing the field by myself.
Yeah.
Jason's just playing acoustic. But in Dan's band, Dan's got the field plowed. The rhythm guitar is really taken care of. It made me re-examine I had to learn second position and become the box of crayons in a 4-piece band. I was all the other colors,
Yeah. So that was a really good, musical. It's great that you had that opportunity to learn.
Oh, and Dan really pushed me in a good way.
Yeah.
Experiment. I love the fact that Dan nightly brings something different. I'd rather you try something different and fall flat on your face than play the same thing night after night after night. That it was really a weird thing because it was a jazz head inside of a rock and roll band.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to play with Dan for almost 13 years. And that band it really developed it gave me deeper pockets. I learned how many different colors there are tonally on a Les Paul, just with your volume and tone knob, hitting plus adding pedals, I had a pretty big pedal board, but most of them were one-trick ponies.
You don't play with tons of effects, do you?
No, I had 4 or 5 effects on the board that were literally single song effects that we didn't use a set list with Dan, so there were nights where I never even cut them on.
Yeah,
there were nights where if I didn't have that effect, I couldn't even begin to emulate the song.
Right.
But I usually have 10, 12 things on my board with Dan. And 4 or 5 of them were single song, one-trick ponies. I got 2 different delays, a super fast, what we call JPOT, Jimmy Page Outdoor Tone, a real super fast slap.
I've never heard that one, man. Jimmy Page Outdoor Tone. I like that.
JPOT, Jimmy Page Outdoor Tone, It's the banat, great slap.
What are you using for that?
A lot of solos and a lot of Dan Baird songs through the years. There's a song on Circus Life called Little Darlin'. The whole song is based around that slap. Without the slap, it doesn't work.
And what effect do you use for that?
It's a MXR carbon copy.
Okay, sure, yeah. Oh, this is very well known. I think I have.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it does a really good job for that. In the studio, I've got a old Dynacord echo unit that was part of my parents' live rig tape unit.
That is cool.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic.
That is cool.
And the preamp on it is amazing too. But there's no way I could travel with that thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. That's very cool, man.
Oh,
so your Gibson 58 custom shop. Your 60 Ellie and your jazz.
I got a 57 custom shop gold top too that Cody built too. And but I mean my Lemon Burst, the white 67 Telly, and the Jazz Master would be the 3 I'd throw in the trunk if I could. I'm just not going to carry my Jazz Master around the world anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that. Favorite musicians you've enjoyed playing with?
Oh, good Lord. Well, Stevie, and we did a half year with Stevie and then about a year with the T-Birds when they had Tough Enough. That record we did. Yeah, those guys were great. I loved playing with those guys. All the REM guys, Lord knows how many shows we played with them way back yonder when we first started out. We probably played with them 100, 150 times back in the club days.
Have
The
you ever
Satellites, when we did the Georgia Satellites first tour, they went out opening for Jason and the Scorchers. They weren't with us long. They blew up and took off and ended up opening up for they left us in Kansas City and played Arrowhead with Bob Seger the next night. You know?
Wow.
Oh, dude, those guys went from playing to 10 people in Atlanta to play in Arrowhead Stadium in like 90 days.
Dan talked about that, and it was really interesting because it was a blessing and a curse.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
well, dude, that you know, I mean, that was one of the reasons why Dan didn't play America. They had that monster hit, and then they had a weird
first song,
backlash.
first record.
Yeah, and people forgot. You know, the Georgia Satellites had been around for years. They'd had 6, 7 bass players, 6, 7 drummers. They had paid their dues over and over and over. The band that we know as the Georgia Satellites was the end result, you know. But it, they had a weird backlash to them in America that was not fair, you know. And Dan didn't play America for 20 years because of it. He just concentrated on Europe, said hell with it, quit playing America altogether, you know.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people that have had that experience that it appears that in Europe, they respect an artist or a band more for what you've done, not necessarily for what you've done yesterday.
Well, you know what I think my take on it is, first off, they'll let you get fat and ball headed.
Man.
America, we need young and new.
Do you think is it still like, because most of the people going to you know, although I was going to say when I go to concerts, I'm not going to see Kanye West, so I don't know. When I go to shows, I'm almost still the youngest guy there.
Yeah, sure. And the European audience will keep coming to see you in clubs. I'm not playing arenas, dude. I'm playing clubs.
Yeah.
You know? If you do decent work, they'll come see you. Now, our job is to continue to do decent work. Got to do that, you know. And quite honestly, I think because shows are at a reasonable time in Europe, you know, it was not unusual with Dan for us to play at 7 or 8 o'clock Monday through Thursday. People can still go to work tomorrow. They're back home by 10:30. They can go to work tomorrow, you know. Weekends would be a little later, but, you know, you didn't have the crap of going on at midnight. Nobody's going to come see me on a Tuesday night at midnight. They got to be at work tomorrow, you know?
Absolutely.
And Dan would tell promoters, you know, he had kind of weeded out a lot of the shows. He's like, dude, put me on at 7. We'll be gone at 10:30. You can have a young band on after us. You'll do 2 shows in one day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask my crowd to be here at midnight. Why? I don't want to be here at midnight. Put me on at 7 o'clock. I'll fill your room.
That's clever, man.
Oh, and they do. In Europe, that happens a lot. And you can get people our age out for that.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
I can't tell you how many times my wife and I have sat at the breakfast table. Tonight, we're going to go see so-and-so at 7 in the morning. And then at 7 in the evening, it's like, oh, man, they're not going to go on until 11, 11:30. And the place is going to be packed. And they won't miss that we're not there. And we talk ourselves out of going.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
You know it. Yeah.
Yep, I've done the same thing many times because you work all day, you're tired. It's like,
big time. I think in Europe they have that for our age group. They have that together a little better than we have it here in America.
Yeah, that's actually very smart.
Yeah, big time.
For everybody involved, for the club, for the band, and for the audience. It's
big
nobody
time.
loses.
Well, and we try to take. You know, I talked to Steve Earle. Steve literally looks at places that have you know, he wants his audience to be able to sit down. He's like, dude, my audience is 60, 65 years old. They don't want to stand on a concrete floor for 3 hours.
Yeah, you know? Man. You know, I'm a big Government Mule fan. I've seen them like 5, 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
But they play this place down here, which you've probably played, Janice Landing out in St. Pete.
I don't know. I think I did that with the Scorchers years ago.
Right. You probably It's an outdoor place, concrete floor, and man,
Yeah.
it's a they're playing 3 hours.
Yes, murder. Yeah.
I don't. I
Yeah.
went the first time, I left halfway, and then the second time, I think I left like an hour into it. Man, I was just
Dude, there's one band, AC/DC. I'll do that for. Nobody else. For 2.5 hours, and even their shows have went from 215 to 150 now. I can stand up for that because I'm 15 years old for 2 hours. You know,
You've really seen him 105 times.
105 times. I paid 104.
Wow, how'd you get in the last one? Does that the thing like you see him 104 times, you get in free the 105th?
No. I've got a real good buddy named Jeff Owsley that is the guitar tech to the Stars.
Okay.
I think he works for Nancy Wilson now, but he's worked for everybody. He worked for Pearl Jam for 13, 14 years. He started out working for Jason and the Scorchers. He knew the guitar tech real well, and we went to the makeup show with Axl singing in Atlanta a year or two ago. It was when they had to cancel some shows, and they were doing the makeup shows, and we went to the Atlanta Axl show, which was they were great that night too. So
that's cool, man. 105 times. You're
a
deadhead of AC/DC.
Big time. That's my band, dude. You know, if Angus is there, I'm in.
All right, so tell me your top 3 Desert Island discs. I know there's got to be an AC/DC record in there.
Power Age.
Right.
I'm one of those guys. I want Mutt Lange to remix Power Age. I want Back in Black's mix, but I want the Power Age record, you know. Power Age, Love Songs for the Hearing Impaired, and I can't decide. I got to have the whole Zeppelin catalog.
Yeah, it's Zeppelin box set. We give you that.
I got to have a Zeppelin box set. Yeah,
I
can't decide. Set. It's like Brown Bomber or Zoso or Physical Graffiti. There's too many to choose from.
Yeah, there's some great records there, man.
Yeah.
He gives you a box set because you're such a good
guy.
But
see, then I'd also have to have Buck Owens at Carnegie Hall. We'd need a Hank Williams Sr. Greatest Hits and something by Merle Haggard. You got to have a Merle Haggard record too.
Right on, man. Most important things you've learned about yourself, Warner?
I can learn a lot of material super quick. I've only met, in my experiences of playing, I've only met 2 musicians that can learn quicker than me.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Andy York had a long career.
Yeah, Andy York, who plays guitar for Mellencamp. He was in the Scorchers for the Thunder and Fire record. Andy can learn stuff quicker than I can. And Perry Baggs was the quickest I've ever seen. Perry could hear a song one time and he had it next song.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've learned to trust that. Now I'm in the easiest job on stage to be that guy. You frost the cake or you don't frost the cake, dude. Don't put any frosting on the cake. It's that easy,
that.
You know. The drummer can play time, but he doesn't know where the holes is. If the bass player makes a mistake, everybody in the building knows it. The singer does have to know the lyrics. Lead guitar player can just bend a wrong note into the right note.
Yes. Someone once told me there's no wrong notes as long as you make the next one the right note.
Exactly. Yeah. I do think the lead guitar player in a band is the easiest job in a 4-piece band.
I got to believe you're incredibly demanding of yourself, though.
I'm and everybody I play with would tell you I'm incredibly demanding of them too. I'm an asshole when it comes to that.
Yeah, man.
Dude, learn the material or get the hell off the stage.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the time to learn the material, that's your fault. That's on you.
Yeah.
And I'm bad about that. I'm really bad about it.
I don't think there is a bad. I think that you're doing your job and you're honoring your response. Yeah, man, that's just being a professional. You're honoring you have personal pride of ownership, and then you're honoring and respecting the people coming to see you. I got no problem with that at all.
It's Dan and Joe and I, we got this joke. None of us want to be sucking hind tit. None of us want to be the guy that let the team down. You know, there is nothing worse than showing up and you're not prepared to play the tunes. You know, is it a writing session? That's different. We're starting from scratch. But, you know, we're showing up. We're all supposed to have done our homework.
Yeah.
Practice is learning the tunes. Rehearsal is getting all the jigsaw pieces to fit together.
Yeah.
But if you ain't done your job, that's on you. And I'm a Nazi about that.
Dude, I agree. I would be the same. I'm the same, man. You got to be demanding and expect high things, and you can't do good things if you don't. But you can't casually be successful.
Well, one of the things that I learned from Danny, if you do your homework, you can show up, and it's okay for it to be ragged. Sometimes it's going to be ragged, can be great.
Sure.
Hell, never mind the Bullocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. Ragged can be great.
Yes.
But if you've done your homework, then we can start having a good time in creating and play music.
Yeah.
Not recite music, play music. And let mistakes happen that become good things. But you have to have done your homework.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. Hey, what makes you happy?
Sorry, I get into, like, I feel like what makes me happy. My wife, my grandkids, my kids, my daughters and my son, my mother still being around.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
it's cool.
Nice. That's really nice.
Both of my brothers and my father are gone, but my mom's still here.
That's great. Happy to hear that.
Playing loud rock and roll music to a crowd of people that want to hear it. A job well done. Effort. Serious effort, even if it's not successful. Effort.
Yeah. There's a great feeling that you get out of that, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the best answers I've ever gotten. Happiest moment or time in your life?
Marrying my wife, Deb. I don't think both of us had a divorce that wasn't great. Mine wasn't contested. It was just not a great time in my life. Hers was a little rough. Neither one of us thought we'd ever get married again. And we ended up marrying each other. And it's by far, besides stopping drinking, the smartest move I've ever made. Deb's the bomb. She's still the bomb all these years later.
That's so cool, man.
Oh, dude. It's, by far the best thing. I still can't wait to get home and set eyes on her.
I feel you. That is awesome. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
she allows me to do what I do. I'm gone half the year most of the time. Last year, 8-9 months. She allows me to do that. It's our relationship's different than it used to be. She was always with me all the time. She tour managed the Scorchers, and
oh wow,
yeah, for years. If I went, she went.
Yeah.
But now not so much, and with the grandkids even less.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, she just grandbabies up a lot.
Yeah.
Which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. She loves that. She loves the grandma job. So
yeah, that's nice, man. Happy for y'all.
Thank you.
Most important thing your dad taught you?
Never give up. Try to do the next right thing and never give up, dude.
Mom? Most important thing your mom taught you?
Same thing. Quit bitching and get off your butt and do the work.
I like that. You have any hobbies outside of music?
Building.
History.
Building. Yeah. I think there's an instant gratification to building that there's not in music. It's like, that wasn't there. I built it. You can't take it away from me. Music's a subjective thing. Once you get it done and throw it out there to the world, it's no longer your baby anymore. People like it or don't like it. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can't make somebody like your thing,
Right.
Music's subjective. One person's trash is another's treasure. That building wasn't there. I've now built it. You can't take that away from me.
I think the process of building is similar. It's a very creative process, like music is, though.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
I can see you enjoying that.
And my brain really goes to that. It's, it used to be I'd have to figure it out. Now it's just like, let's just do it.
Right on, man. Hey, tell me the
I
favorite.
love the fact too, like during the tornadoes, during Katrina, I went down and built handicap ramps during Katrina. I love the fact that I have a skill that can actually be of use to others.
Yeah, that was
in
really
time of need.
That's very cool of you. And I will tell, if it's okay, that before we started recording, Warner was talking about when they had the tornado over in Nashville.
Yeah.
He was out tarping roofs and helping out there. That,
well,
man, that says a lot.
Dude, that's my younger daughter, Amelia. She come over, my mother and Deb and I and Emmy and her husband Arash put together some money. She went and bought water and all this stuff and took over to East Nashville had a lot of help. North Nashville didn't get a lot of help. And she called me the next morning and asked me if I'd be up for maybe helping her tarp a few roofs. And I said, sure. I love the fact that my daughter wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And when we got in the truck, I was like, so where are we going, East Nashville? She said, no, we're going to North Nashville. They really need help. And we went over there for days, and it was all at her doings. It's nice that I have skills that could be of use.
Yeah, what a great experience to share with your daughter too. That's making those
it was
memories.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
oh
that's
yeah,
very cool.
And she got on every roof I did. She wasn't scared of it.
That's awesome, man. It's nice that you do that, of service.
Well, I don't. It's not even kudos as much as I'm glad we had skills.
Yeah.
That could really be of use. I mean, those people got hit hard. There were, hell, there was one yard we pulled up to, man, I've never seen this before. It was just a slab. Not only was the house gone, there was no debris, but the damn grass in the yard was gone.
Oh.
I mean, it was just a slab and dirt. It's like, my God,
So where did literally the
I
house
have no idea. There was not even any debris, and 2 houses over looked like nothing had happened. Tornadoes are a really weird thing. 2 houses each way, no damage whatsoever.
Yeah. Wow, that's too. Hey, 2 more questions, Warner.
Yes, sir.
Biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of that has been intentional, and how much is a part of aging?
I'm a really intense guy, especially musically. I don't get the jitters playing live. I don't get butterflies and all that crap. If you've done the work, you should be prepared to throw down. That's your job,
Dude, I love that quote. If you've done the work, you should be prepared to throw down.
Need a T-shirt. Dan would sometimes get butterflies. It's like, dude, nobody's showing up. This isn't NASCAR. They're not showing up to watch you wreck the car, man. They're showing up because they want to see you succeed. But my intensity level, I think because of age, is starting to wane a little bit. I'd like to say that I've gotten control of it, but that's a bunch of BS. I think I've gotten a little better, not a lot, a little better at controlling the intensity and making it work for me, not against me.
Yeah, that's cool.
I am very bad in intense situations. I'm learning, but very bad at saying the absolute wrong thing at the wrong time. And I think I've gotten a little better about
learning to take a deep breath before.
Well, sometimes maybe just why don't we just not say that? One of the things I learned with email that's great is to type out the I'm gonna kill you email, that I hate you, and then throw it away and read. I'll type that email tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how overnight the email becomes focused and a lot smarter and a lot less accusatory, and I can make my point without being intense and mean.
Man, I read this book when and I wish I'd read it when my sons were younger, when my daughter was like very little girl. It was called Love and Logic.
Yeah.
And it talked about disciplining kids. And what I got out of this, it said, most people, as a parent, your kid does something to really piss you off. What do? You react and you.
Yeah.
And it said, that's not a rule. You can just tell the kid, hey, there's going to be a consequence from this later. I'm not sure what it is right now.
Yeah.
And man, I was like, that was revolutionary. Like, wow, I could just do nothing. How much less stress is that?
Dude, one of the greatest things I learned in AA was deciding to not make the decision today
Yes.
is a decision.
Yes.
I do not have to make the decision today.
And there's so much freedom, and like,
big time.
It's like taking the pressure cooker, opening it up, letting all that shit out, and like, that feels better.
Don't have to make the decision today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's I wish, you know, my wife is absolutely astounding at thinking things through and you know, really forming a very concise, great opinion and advice. And I always, there's a flashpoint I have to get through.
I feel you.
You know, what's the you know, fuck up, react, blame someone else. You know, 28 years later, funny. I'm still waiting for the wisdom to know the difference to show up. but I think I'm getting a little better. You know?
That's good, man. Hey, and tell me the funniest thing, last question, that's happened to you on stage or in the studio.
Years ago, Jason Ringerberger probably hate me for this. It's when we were mixing Lost and Found. I'm sure Jason has some really funny stories about me, or, you know, pissed off stories about me, but we were mixing Lost and Found at Terry Manning's studio at his house in Memphis. And we were working on the Eddie Arnold song, I Really Don't Want to Know. And the guitars on the front of that are like Sherman tanks. It's great. It's a great sound. And the, you know, Sherman tanks are moving into the war zone to set the battlefield. And the song gets rolling, and I'm all in. The guitars sound like $1 million, and, you know, Terry plays the thing for me, and I look at him, I went, dude, that's a mix. And Terry says, well, there's only one problem with it. I said, what's that? He says, you don't have a vocal in it. You know, I'd say, there wasn't a lead vocal in the damn mix yet. You know, I was ready for it to go as it was. Didn't have a lead vocal in the mix. So they all busted out laughing at how I was listening to mixes, obviously, in those days.
Yeah.
You know, Jason wasn't even in the damn mix yet. I was ready to let it rip.
You're ready to, so,
yeah. It was, Terry really had a good laugh at my expense because of that. So.
Yeah, but it's probably because you're so intense. You would just do, you know.
Dude,
doing your thing.
You know, we've learned, like with Joe and Dan and I, when we do mixes together, we do what we call fresh ear guy. Joe is always there because he's really the engineer, and Dan or I is there as the band advocate all day long, and then fresh ear guy comes in 2 or 3 times and leaves. You know, he hasn't been there listening to mixes for 10 hours.
Gotcha.
And fresh ear guy will walk in and go, wow, man, that's great, but you don't have the kick drum in the mix. You know, oh man, hell, you know.
So that's a good one, having fresh ear guy.
Well,
that's
you know, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
You know, you've been working on the snare drum and the vocal, the reverb send on the vocal all day long, and you miss the fact that the bass ain't in the mix yet, or something silly, you know, something that's very obvious that whoever would catch under normal situation. If they were fresh ear guy, they'd walk in and hear it.
Yeah, man. Fresh ear guy. I like that.
But I actually learned that from Barry Beckett. So
I know who that guy is. You know how many people have mentioned that guy to me?
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Barry Beckett, my Lord. You know, he produced the Thunder and Fire record on Jason and the Scorchers. That guy forgot more music than most of us ever learned.
Did you see that sign in front of his office? It said, be careful of the toes you step on the way up, because they will be attached to the ass you need to kiss on the way down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be any more true, my friend.
Yeah. That's funny, man. Warner, man, I cannot thank you enough you're a lovely guy, man. I'm really glad I got to talk with you. Let me tell people what you got going on here. First of all, this is like a wisdom summary here. We learned a lot today from Warner E. Hodges.
and go watch all of Tom Bukovac's self-help videos. Go watch any guitar player. Just go watch every one of them.
Nobody's gonna leave here humming your guitar solo. What else did we learn here? Do your homework, and if you've done the work, you should be prepared to throw down and always have a fresh ear guy. I mean, this is just nuggets of wisdom. All right. So if there's any chance you don't know Warner E. Hodges, please go to warnerehodges.com. I would love everybody to check out his new record, especially. It's called Just Feels Right. It's an hour long of killer rock and roll music. He's got his usual tasty, incredible licks on there. Great songwriting. Really good stuff. I love Where You Gone, Company Man, In Your Dreams, Take Me Downtown, Calling Me Home. Those are my favorite.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, man, thank you for making.
We didn't talk about. I do want to say this real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
My last studio record, right back where I started once again.
Talk about it.
Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick played bass on the whole damn record.
Oh, cool.
And dude, it's Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick. You know,
how do you know him?
Favorite. I'm a Cheap Trick guy. My favorite band is AC/DC. My favorite American band is Cheap Trick. You know, they've got the best singer in rock and roll in Robin Zander.
Yeah.
They've got Tom Peterson. They had Bunny Carlos playing drums on it. I mean, there's songs that if it wasn't for the drums, you didn't have nothing. And then, of course, Tim Nielsen. Rick Nielsen. I went to Driving and Crying. My fault.
No, all good.
Tim Nielsen's bass player in Driving and Crying.
All good.
Great band, but I've become friends with those guys. You know, when I was a kid, they were heroes. They're still heroes. But I literally become pals with those guys now. And the last time I saw them, saw them down in Florida at that 30A thing.
Yeah, I think one or two. I think Robin lives here, not far.
Yeah, he lives in Tampa.
Yeah, I thought so.
Or somewhere close.
I think Sarasota maybe or something.
Well, I literally lucked up. I called Tom. I was driving. I left a Driving and Crying gig in Georgia at like 4:30 in the morning so I could make their set that started at noon.
Wow.
And called Tom and went, dude, I'm going to buy a ticket, but can you get me on the guest list? I can't buy a ticket and make your show. I went and bought a ticket after the show. And when I got there, they put me in Guitar World, you know, which was wonderful.
That's
so
cool.
In Rick Nielsen's Guitar World. And Robin Zander name checked me from the stage, which was like, touchdown.
Yeah, man, right on.
Zander, all of those guys are heroes of mine. And I got to talking to Tom at a Nashville show one night, and he said, man, why haven't you ever asked me to play on something? And I just looked at him. I went, Tom, I don't have Cheap Trick money, you know? And he said, well, what do you pay the other guys? And I told him. He went, well, I'll do it for that. So I hired him to play on the record.
Right on.
And he's amazing. He's amazing. I mean,
what's the record called again, please?
Right Back Where I Started Once Again. It's my previous studio record.
Right Back Where I Started Once Again. Awesome.
Yeah.
And what I would love everybody to do is go to warnerehodges.com, HODGES. Listen to the music. If you want to order the music, please order it from Warner's website, warnerehodges.com. That would be great to support what he's doing. Just Feels Right is the most recent album. Right Back Where I Started Once Again.
Yeah.
Right back where, sorry, I can't read my own writing, Warner.
That's okay. It's a song written about the old punk rock days when I first met Joe Blanton. So.
Awesome. Also find Warner on Facebook. He's got a band page there, and on Instagram, he's just at Warner E. Hodges. Any word on when you'll be, or any idea when you'll be out playing?
Right now, I mean, I had a May-June tour that obviously got shifted, as everybody's dates did. Right now, they're tentatively talking October, November. I hope that happens, but I'll kind of believe it when I see it. I hope it happens.
I hope so too.
But I don't want to put my band guys in jeopardy. I don't want crowd people to be in jeopardy. I hope October, November. I don't know. You know, I'm supposed to be in Europe in October.
That's great. Any chance you'll be down here anytime?
We're going to try to do some American dates. I want to do some American dates. I want to try to get my British band over here and do it. I've got a kick-ass band. I really didn't talk much about them. My guitar player, Ben Marston, is ungodly. He can play faster.
He's not related to Bernie, is he?
No, he's not. But he can play faster than you can listen. I know that. You know? Oh, he's a monster.
See, that's another nugget, man. He could play faster than you. Dude, you're like you should be like a T-shirt manufacturer.
When I met him, he wanted to play with me because he wanted to learn some country stuff. He's a rock guy and he wanted to learn some country stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing he did was he started fooling around with Jerry Reed's The Claw.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I looked at him. I was like, son, if that's the hole you're fishing in, you're in the right pond.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, he's a monster. He's a monster guitar player. I've got a great drummer named John Powney. And my bassist, Jason Knight, can play anything. I've got a really good little band. It's a great band.
That's great, man. Well,
so I want to get those guys over here and do some American shows.
Well, I hope the tour goes off in Europe. And, man, I hope you come down to Florida. I'd love to see you play, man. That would be awesome.
Thank you. I'd love to come down. Maybe I can talk Robin into doing something.
That's right, man. And, man, thanks for everything you've done. I mean, you've really put out such a great catalog and a very sincere, from your heart music for many, many years.
Thank you.
It's a lot of effort, and I really appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you. I'm going to keep doing it till I die, man. I don't know how to do nothing else.
Good. Don't stop because you're great at it. I'm gonna wrap this up, and thanks very much. Hang on, and I'll chat with you as soon as this is over. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Everybody, check out Warner E. Hodges' new record. Go to warnerhodges.com. Order the music from there. Just Feels Right, the most recent album, right back where I started once again, is this last album that he talked about. Check him out on Facebook at his band page and Instagram at Warner E. Hodges. And most important, especially nowadays, man, remember that happiness is a choice. So please choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Warner, thank you so much, brother.